Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, I want to discuss two articles, um, and the protagonist in these two articles is the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, and one article is about Zelensky trying to build guilt, for a certain group in order to gain support for his actions and military help and all that. And the other article talks about the victimhood mentality. So he's a victim, therefore we owe him something. He's not a victim. He was not a victim. He's not a victim. He's a president of the country. But you see, he is a victim by association. It's like, for instance, I would go to Turkey as a Romanian and say, Turks, you owe me because in 1700s, you guys, invaded in 1600s and 1500s, 1400s, you guys, invaded my country. So you owe me now. So don't say anything, and why don't you give me some help? So this Zelensky, I'm going to use the first article. It comes from The Hill, and it says that from March 17th, 2022. And Zelensky, it says here, Zelensky cites Holocaust slogan in an address to Germany. Never again, now worthless, he says. Now, if you don't know what this is all about, the Holocaust is the Second World War, crimes that were perpetrated by the Nazis, where the Jews were killed, gypsies were killed, homosexuals were killed, political adversaries were killed. Well, this is the Holocaust of the Second World War. So now we have here, he's saying this in front of the Reichstag. So first, this president of Ukraine, this guy did not even know what Ukraine was prior to this probably, goes in front of the Reichstag, in their, and their parliament, and he has a speech at the big, how do you call it, screen over there in the Reichstag, like I've never seen something before, big. And everybody says over there, stand up, clap like seals. And he's mentioning this to keep the Germans guilty of something they didn't do. None of those guys is guilty of any crimes towards anybody, but he uses that because he is Jewish. So how low can you go to do that? You are not a victim. You're a president of a country on this planet. However that is, good, bad, it's a country. So one of what, 190 and 193 countries on this planet at this point. So he's one of the first 193. Now, if you take it like that. So he does that in front of the Reichstag. Now that's very low. It's very low. But he does it because chutzpah. Why not? What are they going to do? Stand up and clap. And the one who doesn't clap, doesn't stand up, guess what's going to happen with that guy? The media is going to lynch him. He's going to be gone forever from the public's eyes. And he's going to be a second Hitler and all that. Okay, and the other one is, it was a visit of the Turkish president, Erdogan, in Moscow, it seems like, or in Russia. Nevertheless, let me put my goggles. And it says here by The Week, this article in The Week, by Catherine Garcia, March 17, 2022, and it says here, Putin shared with Turkey's president his demands for Ukraine. Nothing extraordinary, but we go lower here, and Putin demanded the Nazification of Ukraine. Well, how can you demand denazification of Ukraine when you have a Jewish president, right? That's illogical. Never been seen before, ever in history, like something like that, never. But I'm going to say here, I'm going to read a little bit what's here, and it says here that all right, the Russians, Ukraine would also have to agree. These are the conditions. One of the conditions of the Russians to end this whatever it's over there in Ukraine. He says Ukraine would also have to agree to go through denazification. We know Germany went through a denazification after the Second World War, and a lot of people, okay, and they were interned in camps and all that, and re-educated and so on. So here is what the article says. Zelensky is Jewish and had several relatives die in the Holocaust, that is a Holocaust of the Second World War. Asking for the government to go through the, and I'm quoting, denazification, end quote, is deeply offensive to Zelensky, this guy Simpson wrote. But the Turkish side believes it will be easy enough for Mr. Zelensky to accept. Perhaps it will be enough for Ukraine to condemn all form of neo-Nazism and promote the free world and blah, blah, blah. So you see, all of a sudden, everything is conflated to guilt building, and the guy got offended. Do you think that Russians give a damn about this guy getting offended? You got Nazis in your military. That's a fact. Evidence. We all know that. So who got those Azov battalion in your army, in Ukraine army? You had Nazis in the government with Nazi inclination and sympathies. So I don't understand what's so offensive. Is that a fact? Yes. You feel offended. I don't care. How is that? Facts don't care about your feelings? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You get offended, do something about it. Or you want me to shut up because you feel offended. Why would I? And then with the Germans, they should feel guilty because what? You mentioned never again, like what happened in the Second World War. If these guys don't attack the Germans, again, you know, Europeans fight for the third party. If they don't attack or give him the weapons and military and all that, because they're going to ask more and more and more. It's not like, oh, we need some money. Okay, we need some weapons. Oh, we need some military. Oh, we need something. So they always need something. That's how people are. That's how we all are, more or less. This is more. This guy is more. He's one of those guys who is more about asking and demanding and playing the victim, and then he's going to just hang you at the end of the meeting. So just saying about building guilt from some people that have nothing to do with anything. No German alive over there, unless he was a Nazi then, and he's killed and so on in the war, whatever crime he did, is guilty of whatever happened there. Why? Then all Europeans should be guilty, feel guilty because the gypsies died? I mean, it's absurd. But nevertheless, that's the big lie and repetition. You know, make the big demand so big that it's like you paralyze, your brain paralyzes because it doesn't know how could that be possible to be asked something like this. By the time you recover, you're already, you know, hanged. So just, you know, two tactics. They always worked for certain people. Guilt, and then the other one, victim. And remember, a victim is always supposed to be the weaker one. The victim can't be powerful, because then it wouldn't be not a victim. Now this guy obviously is powerful, and he's still a victim. I mean, again, I'm using ancient Greek logic, and I'm not using the biblical Jewish logic or lack of. How could that be? If you're a victim, that means the other person is a victim. Well, you can say, well, that's stages of victimhood, you know. Like, okay, I was the victim, but then I beat this guy up. Okay, oh yeah. But in this case, you're one of the 193 people on this planet as the president of a country. And you tell me you're the victim. You're in control of a country. You have connections. You belong to certain groups. you're in connection with the United States, with all these guys that support you, and you're the victim. And then you try to use guilt again as a victim by association that you never had anything to do with that. My relatives were killed by the Turks. My relatives were killed by the Germans. Do I get anything about it? My ancestors were bombed by the Americans, raped by the Russians. So by the Poles, by the Hungarians, by the Serbs, by, everybody had something. Now we go to the magnitude. I'm going to go and count. Maybe I have about 50 million. So that means I'm more of a victim because I have 50 million in the past who died altogether compared with, I don't know, 3 million, 6 million, 9 million. No, really? But this is a game. It is not logical. It's not a grown-up conversation. It is a child-like conversation. Weak people. But the audience is weak. So what do you expect? What do you expect? Stand up and clap. Now, as a German person, as a German citizen, looking at my elected officials, and if I have a little bit of brain still, and some heart and some morals, I look at these guys and I'm thinking, this guy is a fraud. The guy on the screen is a fraud. He can be a fraud. But then I'm looking at my people that I voted for, that represent me. What are they? They're even worse than that guy because, a thief can always come and say, you know what, or a guy, a rapist, come and say on the street and say, hey man, you're with your girl, I want to rape your girl. Okay, he's a rapist or whatever he is. But what are you going to do? Oh, okay, please, go ahead. Tell me when to come back, okay? Is that how you're going to do? We're going to say, good job, Mr. Rapist. Great. And he's going to say, well, I come from a single family and I was starving and I need to rape your wife right now. And I say, oh, you're a victim too. And I am an educated, rich bastard here, and I'm going to move to a side so you can rape my wife or my girlfriend. Is that logical? I'm not going to oppose that a little bit. I'm not going to say, wait a second. Maybe he's going to overpower me, but I'm not doing anything about it? How is that possible? Just because he builds guilt, he's a victim, and he's going to get my girl, right? Which is going to get my resources, let's put it this way, differently. You're going to get my car. The same if you don't want to use it, because Zelensky comes from resources, money, investment, power, and humans, because if the Russians get angry, they're going to just flatten Germany like that. So then humans, but he doesn't care, because he doesn't care. I'm not going to give you more reasons. Just use your brain. So a thug, traitors, and losers. All right, stay smart, strong, look for the truth, and be just. See you next time. Ciao.